Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. Boy, do I have an exciting video here today. Just had a mail call. Got home from work late last night, and I had a package and a letter, both, or a card. And well, first off, I received my stickers. It's official. I've snuck into J.O.'s SAK Pack. So John at J.O. Ventures has started the SAK Pack, and got these stickers made up, and he's officially made me a member. I don't know how I keep sneaking in, but now I'm in the SAK Pack and the Canoe Club, both Canoe Crew. I keep saying Canoe Club, Canoe Crew from HT. Um, Gosh, next I got to work on that Muskrat Mafia. I don't know. I don't have a lot of muskrat knives, but I'm going to have to work on it. But anyway, folks, go over to J.O. Ventures Outdoors. Check his channel out. Hit that subscribe button. John is just a wonderful friend. And John, thanks so much for these stickers and for accepting me in. And maybe you had to waive some of the membership requirements, to sneak me in. But I sure do appreciate it. And thanks for the nice little note you sent along with it, too. I appreciate you, my friend. Well, I had a viewer reach out to me, and I'm not going to use his name. Maybe I'll send him an email, see if I can use his first name. But he got this Kamp King camp knife or scout knife. And as you can see, one of the covers is off of it, and he wants it repaired. And he wasn't quite sure how to do it. Somebody did try to glue it on once, and it didn't stick. I've kind of come up with a solution. If you've seen my video where I fixed John J.O. Ventures' Granddaddy Barlow, I'm going to use the same technique to reattach this cover to the knife. Now these are what's called shell bolsters, and there should be a little tab on this end, and a little tab on that end. And if you look at them here, you can see where that little tab is bent over there. That's the problem with taking the shell covers off is, if you take them off once or twice, you're going to bend or you're going to break that tab. It's not on there very sturdy. So once the tabs are broke off, then, how do you get it put back on? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to fix his knife by reattaching this cover. But first, as you can see, we got some rust and some other things on this knife here. Of course, this is an Imperial. So while I have it here in my possession, I'm going to get her all cleaned up so that he has a really nice camp knife. Hopefully, I can get her cleaned up nice for him and get it fixed and the cover on. So we've got that to do. And then he sent me this little gift. And this is a Zippo lighter, a small Zippo lighter. It's a USS Forrestal CVA 59. And he put a little note on there that says, "Hope you like it." And well, you bet I like it. You better believe I like it. So maybe I'll talk a little bit more about why this lighter is so special to me as I'm working on the knife. But to get started here, what I want to do is get this put into some rust remover. Now, as you know, in the past, I used a product called Evapo-Rust. I ran out of it. And while shopping at a farm supply store, I came across a product by WD-40, a rust remover. And I tried it out once on another knife, and it seemed to work pretty good. So that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to put that in there and let it soak. I'll add just a little bit more to it so it covers the knife up. So let's just see what happens. I let the knife soak for about an hour and a half in the rust remover. And again, I'm still testing out this product, so I don't want to leave things in there for too long until I get a feel for how it works. You can see it's kind of darkened that metal there. So I take it out of the solution and always rinse it off with some water. I'm just wiping off the excess water. We're going to throw it in some mineral oil. And I want to talk to you about the mineral oil. I have said on many occasions that you can just throw a knife in there and it's not a problem and let it stay in there forever almost. But I did get a comment from a viewer that said that he took one of his buck knives, I think it was a 703 that has the wood inlays to it, and he said he soaked it in mineral oil overnight, and for some reason, instead of being brown, it really darkened the inlays to where it was coal black. Now, I've never had any problem with mineral oil. Now, a knife like this, it's all metal or synthetic parts, so I don't see how mineral oil would ever affect any of this. But I guess if you have wood handles, you have to be careful with it. That's why, especially with like this new product, I didn't let it soak all that long. And if I am unsure about something, I try to take another knife, like an old beat up knife from an antique store that's got broken blade or something, and I can always kind of test that out, you know, with whatever material I'm using, so that I know the product I'm using is safe. So just a word of caution, always test your things out and monitor. If you've not used it before and you're not sure how it's going to work, test it on something that you don't mind ruining. That's another reason I buy a lot of these old antique store knives. Is they're great to experiment on. Getting a lot of crud out of there, aren't I? So, there's my flashlight. We'll just take a look at this real quick. Oh yeah, cleaned up pretty good down in there. Still a little stuff to get out. But we're going to throw her in the mineral oil and we're going to let her soak. Yeah, you can see that rust remover did leave a black patina on the metal, as did the evaporust if you left it in there too long. Well, I've let this knife soak in the rust remover, and then since I didn't have a time to work on it right away, I went ahead and threw it in mineral oil. Let it soak overnight. You know, if I have several hours in a row to work on a knife, after I put it in the rust remover, I usually go right into, you know, cleaning with the rubbing compound and such. But if I can't get to it right away, I just go ahead and throw it in mineral oil. It doesn't hurt to soak it in there. See, now we can start to see the tang stamp a little better. Now, before we go too much further, I want to get back to this here, this wonderful lighter. And the viewer's name was James. I contacted him. He says, yeah, you can go ahead and say James. So James, thank you so much for this lighter. USS Forrestal. So when I first went to Navy boot camp in 1982, as they taught us damage control on board ship and all of that, the Forrestal was brought up as an example. They showed us movies of what happened that day. It was a terrible naval disaster, largest loss of life on board a U.S. Navy vessel since World War II. I don't remember the date. I think it was 1967. I got some slides prepared with some information on it. I didn't bring any notes with me. But just a terrible loss of life. Well over 100 sailors died, and well over 100 sailors were burned and injured. And because of that fire, it changed a lot of the procedures that the Navy uses, and they drilled damage control into our head. We've pounded it into our heads. When you're out at sea and on board a vessel, you can't call 911. You got two choices. You either fight the fire, save the ship, or you jump overboard. And it's up to you. Every hand on board becomes a firefighter or does something to participate in saving the ship. Okay, that's how we're looking right now. We're going to get started on cleaning these blades. Now, I did have somewhat of a personal connection to the Forrestal. I'll get into that in just a minute. And these slides, one of them has something to read on it, so when I put it up, you can go ahead and pause it and read it. But right now we're going to get started on this knife. Put some of this rubbing compound on there. See that blade? You can see the rust remover. I only let it soak for a little over an hour, between an hour and two, and you can see it darkened the metal on there. I added that patina to it. But it'll come right off. Cleaning up already, isn't it? So in the mid-80s, I was assigned to a fleet commander's staff, 3-star admiral, and his chief of staff was a Navy captain. Now, a Navy captain is the equivalent in pay grade to well, in the Army, Air Force, Marines, what would be called a colonel. And this captain that I served with, I guess you could call him, as I call me, is well, in lack of better terms, is kind of his personal administrative assistant, if you will. Worked very closely with him. And he'd been a A6 pilot. And he had been on the Forrestal that day when that happened. What was really interesting is a model company came out with a model of an A6, and as part of the decals and stuff for the model, they had his name. So he got all kinds of letters from around the world, people that, you know, put the model together and had his name on it, and they wanted his autograph and to go along with the model airplane they had just put together. That was pretty cool. Another notable person that was on board that day, the Forrestal that day, was the former late Senator John McCain. I think he was in the cockpit of one of the planes, but he was obviously able to get out and survive. Now you can Google Forrestal, and there are videos that actually show what happened that day, film from that day. But just real briefly, again, I don't have any notes with me, but I believe there was a missile that went off. It had a deck full of planes with loaded ordnance. Plus, I think they were doing some refueling at the same time. But there was a power surge on something, and one of the missiles fired. Of course, hit a plane on deck, causing an explosion and a fire, and it just went downhill from there. All kinds of explosions, fires. I think they fought the fires for well over a day. I just remember watching the movie. It was a film. Didn't have the internet and YouTube and all of that back in '82, so old-fashioned film reel. Man, that was something. There you go. You see, it looks like we got a patent number there on that can opener. Let's get this tang cleaned off. You read a lot better now, can't you? Okay, well, let me work on this knife for a while. Okay, I've done quite a bit of cleaning on this. I wanted to take a moment to show you, though. You see this main blade? It snaps into place, but it does not want to snap back into place. It's pretty weak there. Just in looking at it, it doesn't look like, you know, it's spread apart there or anything like that. It's been cleaned, so it's not like there's a bunch of junk on the back spring. Although we'll keep manipulating it here a little bit. Maybe we'll get some snap back. But I just wanted to show, if you've never seen it, this is your back spring. And your blade sits something like that. And as your blade rotates out, it lifts that back spring up. And then it snaps back down into place. So if this area here on your blade gets worn off and rounded, why, it's just worn out and you're just not going to get a lot of good snap from it. And I suspect that's what's happened with this main blade, is it's just worn out here. We'll see if we can get some of that snap back. But I'm going a little faster on this video than I normally do, because the main focus is going to be putting that cover back on. And because I got to let stuff set and soak and time periods, why, I just encourage you to check out some of my other videos where I show the complete process. You can see there, almost looks like there's a little rust on there yet. But always check these back springs. See, I got some stuff off of that one. Not looking too bad. So you check all those back springs. Then of course I got down into here, cleaned out down in here, took some sandpaper and cleaned out down in the well or the channels. You know, I don't even know what the proper name is. I call it the well or the channels. But I got down in there, cleaned that out pretty good. It's looking real nice. So I'm not going to show the next steps, but I'm going to throw it into the ultrasonic cleaner, get rid of all that excess cleaning material and all that dirty oil. Then I'll probably soak it in mineral oil once again. Then I'll have to wipe it off. Then we'll do our final polishing on the knife, and then we'll reattach the cover. Well, now it's time to reattach this cover, and I just wanted to show you some of the prep work that I have done. Of course, the knife has all been cleaned. Before my last soaking in mineral oil, I took some rough sandpaper and just kind of scuffed up the metal there so that the epoxy will stick better to it. There's a hole right here that's covered with tape, just like that one there. I'm going to cover those holes because I don't want the epoxy to squeeze on through and perhaps lock up a blade or something like that. So I'm going to put those little two pieces there, hopefully to keep any epoxy from going down inside. Okay, and I have taped this cover off because as you're handling it, you get that epoxy stuff on your gloves or on your fingers, and it stains, it makes a mess. It really does. That's got too much mineral oil. I won't be able to get it covered with tape, but I'm going to be very careful. And we're going to be using this product here. It's a epoxy putty, a sticky adhesive epoxy putty made by JB Weld. And the other thing that I wanted to show here is there's one little problem in that we have this hole here where the bail goes through. So after I get this put on, I'm going to stick this nail down through that hole and ream it out a little bit before it all sets up. That way we have a hole for this to go down through. So that's just kind of the setup. Okay, now we've got everything prepped, I hope. And there was our tube of stuff, and I cut off a chunk here. Never quite know quite how much to start with, but we want to make sure we got plenty. Now that has a core to it, so what you're going to do is you're going to knead this up till you get a even color to it. And once you start the process, you can't really stop. You have about 5 minutes before it sets. That's why you want to have everything ready to go. Just knead it up here. You may want to wear a pair of gloves. I chose not to this morning. Okay, we got a nice even color here. Get a chunk here. We're just going to put it in here. And we want to put extra in there. Nice big hump because we're going to put it down on there and squeeze it hard. We want it to come out the sides. So we want to make sure it gets filled in there just right. Make sure we got plenty of it there. See, it's up and over it. Looks like I got plenty of it here. Push down in there. Okay, make sure we get our bolster lined up correctly. And we're going to push this down on there. Hopefully we get it evened up. Pull that out there. You can see we're squeezing out already. Start getting rid of this excess. There we go. Can be a little bit of a messy process. Push it down there as hard as you can. Squeeze that stuff out. Oh, I got plenty in there, didn't I? Right, more than what I needed. That's all right. It's easier to scrape it away if you've got too much. Now it's kind of hard because I didn't have any tab to line it up with, so gotta make sure we get this lined up correctly. Oh, I put more than, way more than enough in there. That's all right. Wow. Just want to get this pulled away before it sets. Hopefully I got that on there evenly. It looks right. Keep it up out of there. Make sure we're lined up. Put that down in there and wiggle that around a little bit. Remember, we got to have a hole to put that bail back in. Keep squeezing down on it. Oh, it's starting to set. I think I got it up here even. I'm really going to push that last squeeze down, really get it down so that it sets up even. You don't really want to be able to see the stuff when you're all done. So I'm really squeezing hard on it there. It's setting up. Yeah. And there we go. We're just going to let her dry. I've let it set up for about a half an hour. And this is what we have. And you can see you can see just a little bit of a line of it there. But after it sets up some more, I can use a little sandpaper net and kind of sand that down a little bit more evenly. So a little bit of it does show, but that cover's on there. That cover's not coming off. I did take a pair of pliers and put the bail back in here and then gently squeezed and got that squeezed shut. So we got our clevis or bail attached again. And this is what our knife looks like when we're done. So overall, I'm happy. I wished I could have got that squeezed out a little better and a little more evenly, but it is what it is. It went from being an unusable knife to a usable knife. There you go. So James, tell me what you think. I'll try to polish it up a little bit more and even that up a little bit better, but you really do have to look hard to see it. And usually no one's too concerned with the back of the knife. It's a usable knife. Now, I was not able to do anything with that main blade. It doesn't have a lot of walk and talk to it. But you've got a usable knife. A very nice knife. A very nice Imperial. You bet. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this restoration and a little bit of a repair on this knife. I sure had a lot of fun doing it. Thanks to James for giving me the opportunity to do it. Make sure and check out my other refurbishment videos there. I'll put a playlist down there in the bottom right hand corner. And until next time, have a very delightful day.